Hi everyone, and I'm Martin, and welcome to another series of astronomy for beginners. And one topic I'm going to cover is filters. Now, filters is another accessory that you can use with your telescope, and what a filter does will connect onto your eyepiece and allows you to see certain things. Alright, but filters can be a complex matter. Alright, and obviously today's guide I'm going to make it what filters, how they work, what you can see out of them, and I'll give you types of filters as well.
Okay then everyone, I'm in my cellar and I've just got out my collection of filters. Alright, these filters, alright, they all do vary in different types, but the first type I'm going to show you is this filter. Right, what this filter is used a lot mainly for the moon. Alright, now the reason why you use this particular filter is to eliminate the glare, because if you use a telescope and when you look at the telescope it becomes very, very bright. Alright, what this filter does will cut down the glare. Alright, and because it cuts down the glare, it will also add on more contrast on the of the features on the moon. Alright, very little handy feature. The lunar filter is probably the first filter you can invest in. A lot of times with a lot of eyepiece kits you usually get a moon filter without a doubt, but you do get them different grades of shading. Alright, I think this is a plus 12% reduction. Alright, but they come in different various strengths. Alright, best policy when you're looking for a moon filter is go to a shop, astronomical shop, and ask what telescope you have, and they'll get you the correct reduction rate, because if you get too much of a reduction you're going to lose a lot on the aperture and the details and all that, and you probably not even might be able to see through such filter through certain telescopes. So make sure you get the right type of filter. Alright, they cost around about £20 if that. Alright, very cheap filter, but initially it's the the number one filter to get if you're going to use it for lunar work. Alright, again, increases contrast on the views and obviously dims out that brightness just that little bit. Right, a lot of my eyepiece collections are in boxes. Alright, reason why they're in boxes is to keep them away from dust and protect them, stops the coatings from getting scratched and all that. Usually when you buy these kind of filters, they usually come in little cases like these. Now they're fine, they protect it, but they have a habit of opening by themselves when you're taking it about, and they tend to open by themselves. Alright, I don't really like these. That's why if you go to some of the astronomy shops, you can get these plastic cases which I particularly like, and they're a bit more robust. They will protect the filters a little bit more, and they clip in there, and the good thing is you can put series of filters. Now these 2-inch filter cases, they're housing one filter for a 2-inch, but with these you can put 4 of the 1 1/4 125. I'm gonna go over to another type of lunar filter that you can get. Alright, and this one is again a lunar filter again, but this one is has varying brightness. Basically this is a polarizing filter. Alright, and what it does is as you turn this wheel around here, it just knocks down the brightness and then it increases the brightness and all that. Very handy filter to have. Expect to pay around about £20 to £30. It does the same sort of job as the other filter, but because you can adjust the brightness and all, this is really more suited if you've got various different size telescopes. Alright, particularly if you've got a 12-inch, then like a 12-inch scope, you need to really dim the brightness down, because that draws in the light big time on the lumen. Again, it does the same sort of work. you know, increases the contrast, able to see better detail on the moon, and also eliminates that that brightness. You know, it comes with its own case. These particular cases are good because they screw on and they don't come loose like the others. Alright. Usually a lot of the good filters come with decent cases, but if it doesn't, then you can always invest on these little cases here, which, believe it or not, they cost pence. They don't cost a lot of money at all, really. Probably 50, maybe £1 for this particular case. Move on to something else now. This kit is, these are coloured filters. Now what these coloured filters do is, these are called planetary filters, and what these filters do, again, they screw on the eyepiece, at the bottom of the eyepiece, and you obviously put it into your telescope, focus. Now what these do, these are able to make planetary details. So if you're looking at a planet or something in particular and you can't really see the details as much, you fit these in and on certain planets that you're looking at, and what it does is it reveals hidden detail that your eye can't see and all that, and enables to see different features like for example, this yellow one here is really good for the Saturn. Alright, if you're looking at Saturn, what that does is it increases the contrast on the planet and basically enables you to see the storm clouds on Saturn, makes the ring structure as well appeal a bit more in detail. Alright, but basically boosts a lot of contrast. Blue one's my favourite. That only reveals a lot of detail on Jupiter, on its cloud belts, makes the cloud belts stand out a little bit more. Alright, with Jupiter, with the cloud belts, and also reveals the red spot a bit better through this filter. And the red one, believe it or not, is good for looking at Mars. Alright, and Mars will show up the ice caps on it. To be honest with you, the filters you can, because they've got screw, different filters have different brands have different sort of things. These are usually got dual, dual threads on them. So basically, you can actually combine these filters together, alright, and you can stack them, and also it gives you some more different colours, you know. So you can actually stack them and gives you different various colours. Alright, so really good little accessory. Now the trouble with filters, you can spend a lot of money on coloured filters, but one thing I found out useful, that if you just get the basic coloured filters like this set here, is all you need is for planets, right? That's all you need. The rest of them, I mean, I was lucky, I managed to get this from a particular astronomy shop where they were selling it at I think it was like 6 or 7 eye filters for like a price. Alright, and I managed to get the whole lot, but to be honest with you, it's a bit too much. The most filters you're going to use is these sort of types, the basic primary coloured ones. Alright, they do just the purpose. They're not cheap. Alright, you expect to pay something like 10, maybe £20 each, but if you get them in a set, you usually pay about £30 for a basic set. Alright, but that's all you need really, just a basic coloured filter set, and they are a really good enhancement, and they can be used with other telescopes. So even if you sold your old telescope and you got a new telescope, you can still use these filters. Alright, really good buy, and you know, worthwhile. Right, there's one thing I am going to cover, and is these. As I mentioned about filters, there's another type of filter, and it's you can actually use these during the day. Alright, now a lot of people, you know, a lot of people are always wondering, and it's the #1 question that everyone keeps asking, is can you use a filter? You know, can you look at the sun? And yeah, the answer is yes, you can look at the sun, alright, but you need to buy one of these. Right, now this is a solar filter, and what that does is you put this on front of the your objective lens or telescope, in the front of your mirror or corrector plate and all that, and what this does is it blocks out all the harmful light coming from the sun's rays. Alright, so all that harm from UV light and all that, that can blind you, that will stop you. Now bear in mind, alright, this is a white light solar filter. Alright, basically you're going to see some of the features on the sun, and you're going to see the black, obviously the sunspots on there. Alright, you're going to see a lot of detail with this. Alright, now solar filters can be really expensive, alright, to buy. A lot of people make them themselves. If you're going to make it yourselves, I suggest that you get a border solar film, purposely only for visual, because you can get two different grades of filters, one for photography and one for visual. Get a visual, alright, for starters, and you can make your own. However, there are other tutorials out there, or films on YouTube to how to make a solar filter. But ideally for me, I mean, I'm usually pretty good with DIY and stuff, but to be honest with you, I bought myself a decent solar filter, alright, that doesn't get scratched, and it's got a glass coating as well that protects the filter. Obviously the filter is from the inside, so the coating doesn't get scratched. Alright, so basically there's a sheet of plain glass here, and then there's your coating there from the other side. Alright, but you have to make sure you look after them. Now, the one thing I don't particularly like with the Barda film filters is it's actually a foil type film, and it can get easily scratched or it can get pierced. Alright, that's why I bought myself a proper filter. Now, they cost in various prices, and a lot to do with the aperture. Alright, if you've got a small sort of telescope, I mean, you can get some filters as small as this one. Right, this is a solar filter, and this one fits onto a 50mm, basically a finer scope or a small 50mm refractor. Again, it works just the same. Alright, like I say, you get in different size apertures, but the more aperture it is, the more money it's going to cost. Now this one here will fit over a 5-inch aperture telescope. I mean, this will fit over a the 127 Maxutov, the Skywatcher Mac, and they do serve a purpose. But bear in mind, never look at the sun without one of these. If you do, you're going to risk chances of losing your eyesight, and believe me, you'll lose it. Alright, so if you're serious about solar work, alright, get yourself one of these filters first, alright, without a doubt. Alright, I mean, a filter like this has cost me about £60 or something for this 5-inch aperture, which is quite cheap. However, you do get different sizes, and you get different other types of filters, like hydrogen filters for solar work and all. However, expect to pay a hell of a lot of money for those kind of filters. You're talking thousands of pounds. But with those kind of filters, you've got to see more detail on the sun itself. Alright, but with these just serve a purpose. They filter the white light, alright, and you'll see some of the flares and some sunspots, but the sun safely. Alright, so if you want to observe the sun, invest in one of these without a doubt. Alright, do not do anything until you get one of these. Alright, but they serve purpose and they are fantastic. Alright, for the work, for how much you pay for something like this. Right, enough on the solar filters. Right, we're gonna move on to something else now, something totally different. Right, now for a lot of you guys who live in the UK, alright, or some of the people that live near towns and cities and all that, I've come across, we've all faced it, light pollution. Now, light pollution is a killer to astronomy. And to be honest with you, light pollution is more of a nuisance than ever. I mean, there's not few dark sites that you can go out and be able to stargaze and all that. All right, I'm one of the lucky few that I can drive out, from home, around about 24 kilometers away, and I've got a dark site. But however, for most of us back in the UK, it can be very disheartening, to try and find a dark place. All right, but there are alternatives. All right, it's no lost cause. All right, Now bear in mind, a lot of light pollution filters, alright, they just work exactly the same. Basically they screw on bottom and the eyepiece, and then you fit into your telescope and bang. But what these do is, these filters, what they do is they this allows certain light waves. Alright, so basically it blocks out all the sodium or the mercury lights, that basically that light that's blotting out the stars in the sky. But with light pollution filters, alright, they can be very expensive. Alright, a good light pollution filter can cost around 60, maybe 80 pounds for a quarter, an inch and a quarter. Now, actually, I found out you can actually get some cheap filters out there. You know, you can buy them second hand. I mean, this one I managed to get second hand, which is a Lumicon Deep Sky. Probably a really good filter, alright, and I managed to get that for £20. Now this filter is an £80 filter, alright, many years back, and I've had this for around about 14 years I've had this, alright, fantastic. You can look them out on eBay, alright, they're all out there, there are some cheap buys. However, not most of us are lucky to get an unfortunate buy. However, there are alternatives, alright, and you know, you get three different types of filters, alright? You get like a broadband filter, then you get, in fact, you get a narrowband filter, and then you get an ultraband filter, alright? And they do give out series of strengths, alright? Strengths of filters, alright? Now, what these filters do, you know, it depends on what light pollution you're in, alright? And like you say, they all give out varying strengths, and some filters will also reveal some certain detail on nebula. Now, what these light pollution filters do, they block out these certain light lengths of mercury or sodium, this light pollution in the sky, and what it does is it filters all that out and it darkens the background. Now, that background, alright, would be darkened, and if you're looking at a nebula or a galaxy, that nebula or galaxy will stand out a lot more. And what that will do is it will make it a bit more contrasty. You end up seeing some detail that you couldn't see, alright, through the light pollution, alright, and that's what it does, alright. But the bad thing about these filters is, if you've got a small telescope, alright, it's not advised that you use a very strong light pollution filter, because these filters, you're going to guarantee to lose around about 1 to 2 magnitudes, alright, of brightness. So that's how much you're going to lose when you're using these filters, alright. So for small telescopes, it's not always ideal for light pollution filters. However, alright, as I mentioned before, with light pollution filters, you can buy some expensive ones, but you can also buy some really good, cheap, effective ones. Alright, not as great as the good ones, alright, but they do a similar job and they work quite well. And I'm going to start off with this one. Now this one is, believe it or not, a Skywatcher, and this is a broadband filter. Alright, it does certain amount of filtration in light polluted areas, alright. This filter, believe it or not, is actually more suited for guys who've got small telescopes, something like 3-inch, alright. Anything that's 3-inch or small, use this particular filter, alright. It does a minimal amount of effect of narrowing down that pollution, alright. That light. It's quite cheap as well. I mean, this filter, you're probably paying around about £20 for this, alright, from Skywatcher. Alright, very good filter, alright. As a beginner, if you're in light polluted areas, you know, use this filter, alright, without a doubt, alright. And it, you know, for visual work, it works fine and all that. And that's the filter I would recommend. You also do it in a 2-inch format, alright. The 2-inch format, if you've got the bigger eyepieces, alright, use a 2-inch format. Alright, again, same filter, but fits on 2-inch eyepieces. Alright, but yeah, use them filters. Alright, for if you've got a small telescope. You can still use them for bigger telescopes, which works quite fine. However, one thing I did find out is for the bigger telescopes, I found that for the bigger telescopes, now I don't have a 1.25 equivalent, but is this one. Yeah, right, this is a narrowband filter, okay? Again, a much stronger coating of optics, alright? And what this does is gives out a much stronger, try and minimize the light pollution. Again, contrast will eliminate most light pollution in cities and all that, and this is classed as a medium use sort of filter. Basically, you can use it on general most targets of DSOs and all that without sacrificing performance, and it's a good general purpose filter. Again, expect to pay around about £40 to £50. However, these are mostly ideally suited for telescopes of around about 6" and upwards. Alright, you can use them to around about 5" probably, but then you're going to start losing on magnitudes and all that. And it's quite a strong filter, but it does quite a really awesome job on the nebula and that. And you see the coatings are much stronger. Alright, but mostly suited. Then you get these. Now these are oxygen free filters. Now these are much stronger. Alright, and they even eliminate the light pollution even more. However, you're going to lose a lot of magnitude with this filter. However, this filter is particularly used on certain given targets, like for example the Veil Nebula or M1, which is the a supernova remnant, and basically for a lot of diffuse sort of planetary nebulas and stuff like that. Alright. However, because of this massive reduction and the coatings are much stronger, a filter like this you're going to need to use a much bigger telescope, around about 6 to 8 inches. I would seriously put in this kind of filter. But what this filter will do is start revealing some of the hidden details that you can't see and all that through the eye as well. However, oxygen free filter is good, but as a beginner, I wouldn't recommend anyone to get a oxygen free filter unless you're getting really serious on some of the objects and all that. But again, you're going to lose around about 2 to 3 magnitudes with this filter, and probably more. Alright, so it's a very strong filter. Alright, it does darken out the background a lot more, but at certain given targets. Alright, so it's not ideally suited for everything. But the best ones are usually, is that filter, which is a UHC, which is ultra high contrast, which is a good all-rounder. But the guys who've got limited aperture, you can't beat the normal light pollution, the broadband, which works quite well. Alright, and it does minimise to a certain degree. Alright, and without sacrificing performance of the scope. But like you say, there's no hardship. But the main thing is the filters do help. Alright, to a certain degree, but you can't beat a deep clear sky and obviously no light pollution. But there's no loss. Alright, these filters do help a bit to a certain degree, and end of the day, despite that little bit extra, if you're one of these people who can't go to a dark site and all that, then get yourself a really good narrow a broadband filter. And maybe a UHC if you've got a decent side scope, alright, and you can't go wrong. They do help. Basically, that just covers up everything really on filters, alright, and you can spend a lot of money and you can spend on cheap filters. But like I said, they're all out there and they do a certain job, alright. One thing I do need to clarify is filters are also classed as like eyepieces, right? If you've got an eyepiece, if you've seen the last guide on the eyepieces, these filters you can get away with just a quick blow brush to get rid of dust, and maybe a occasional brush with a camel hair brush with the lens pen works quite well. However, if they get smudged or smeared and all that, always like I suggested, get a border cleaning fluid and a cloth as well, you know, to clean them as up. They are treated just the same as eyepieces with the coatings and all that. Alright, you don't want it to peel off the coatings and all that. But usually filters last a lifetime if they're looked after and they're kept in the cases. You know, they last forever. Alright, just bear in mind, you know, they are made out of glass, alright, and you can easily break them, so just be careful, alright. Just keep them in the cases and you can't go wrong, and they'll last forever. And they'll give you many, many years of enjoyment. But yeah, that includes my tutorial on filters, and thanks again. Thanks for watching.